first book, actually, this book is called Threads of Destiny, and I say it is in the hands of the Master Weaver. Why did I write this book? It's because after going through many different kind of things in my life, some very painful, traumatic, and also good things that God has done, I realized that in the journey of life, God is like God working, like the weaver works through a basket or doing something with the threads. And I realized that from down here, we see the mess of our lives, we see the failures, we see the pains, but from above, the Master sees the beauty of what He's making out of us. And through my life, I decided it is good to be able to share my story, because as somebody said, every life is a story if we care enough to listen. And so I wrote this book to just be able to bring hope to somebody who may be feeling hopeless, to bring, restoration where there is desperation, and to tell you that God gives a second chance in life, but you must be willing to take that chance. And so I welcome you to order a copy of this book. It is only 1,000 shillings and or $10 for those who are outside of the country. You can order through the number on the screen, and we'll be able to get you a copy of this book. God bless you as you read it. Give it to somebody else, and I know they will be helped. Amen.
Welcome to Kingdom Business Network. We're so much excited that you are watching this program this day. And we know that today we are going to help you with business insights, which are going to help you grow your business. KBN is a show that empowers you with practical business tips and insights to help you succeed in business. And also as an individual who is trying to get into the space of business or to invest or to do something for yourself, economically, this is a program that will help empower you. And today we want to discuss about a topic that is very, very key to each one of us, and every one of us is affected, and this is tax matters. This is June, and every entrepreneur, every individual needs to file their tax. And to help us unpack that is Brian Ndome, who is our guest today. Welcome very much, Brian.
Yes.
And maybe you can introduce yourself to the viewer and what you do.
Thank you. My name is Brian Ndome, and I'm so happy. Thank you so much, Daktari, for having me here. I'm a finance manager by profession at an institution called Certitude Digital Training Center. But I also practice personal finance coaching and also corporate finance coaching. That is what I do at a very personal level. And so I'm so happy to be here to demystify this concept of taxation. To all of us that are watching, it will be a nice moment, even as we unpack this whole issue. Thank you so much, Daktari, for having me.
Welcome very much, Brian. And today my co-host is none other than Ndege. He's not new to many of you. You can introduce yourself and also tell the viewer what to expect.
Thank you, Doctor. And once again, our viewers, welcome back. This is KBN Show, and today we are privileged to have Ndome Brian, who is our finance expert. And I love the topic of the day. that June matters. I'm here ready to hear why June matters a lot, and to everyone. Welcome so much aboard.
So for those who are watching us, remember this program is right for you, and we have purposely packaged this for you. And therefore, we'd want to hear from you. Please, you can start sending us all the questions that you have been having on tax issues, whether about filing or any other tax-related issue. And Brian, who is a tax expert, is going to be able to handle this on the second part of this program. And for those who are watching us on Facebook, please like, share, subscribe on YouTube, and you'll really help us to get the message across. So stay tuned and don't touch that dial. You're in the right place, and we want to hear why June really matters. Tax.
Yes.
June is with us here.
June is here with us.
Watu wana pesa.
Yes,
but they still have to file tax.
Yes.
returns.
Yes.
Can you tell us why June matters? Yeah, why is it important to file tax?
Wow. I think June is one of the
Returns.
most important months in the government of Kenya's calendar.
Okay.
Because June marks the end of our financial year. Our year begins from July to June 30th.
Okay.
So this month is marking the end of our financial year.
Yes.
And even as I was coming this morning, I was listening to news as I was coming to this platform. And there was a conversation that is ongoing. And the CS Treasurer John Bundy is engaging Kenyans as we give our reviews in terms of what we expect in the next finance bill, because that's what we are preparing for at the moment.
Yes.
As we get into the next financial year. But also it matters so much because it marks the end of our annual filing returns month.
Okay.
This is June. So by June 30th, everyone is supposed to have filed their returns, is supposed to have declared their returns, and therefore it marks a very important month in our filing calendar, in our returns calendar. Yes.
So when you say everyone is supposed to file their returns,
Yes.
who is everyone? Because there's also people who are unemployed.
Yes.
There are people who are not in business.
Yes.
I mean, who is everyone?
So when we talk about everyone, we mean everyone with a KRA PIN.
Okay.
Everyone with a KRA PIN is supposed to file their returns.
Yeah.
Either they have income or they don't have income.
Okay.
What we're doing now is declaring. So you declare either you have income or you don't have income, but you have to declare.
You have to declare.
Yes, you have to
So it's
declare.
mandatory for everyone with a
Everyone
KRA
with a
PIN,
KRA PIN should
whether a
declare.
business or an individual,
Yes.
to file returns.
Yes.
So what exactly does the process of filing annual return
Yes.
involve from a legal and practical standpoint?
Yes. This process, first of all, I would say KRA is this body that is formed by the government. It was actually instituted by an act of parliament. And it's the only regulated body that is supposed to be collecting our taxes.
Okay.
Now they have a program or a process through which we file our returns, and that is through the iTax portal. So everyone must log into the iTax portal and navigate to the file returns option. Is the iTax portal has very, very many options.
Okay.
But now when you're talking about filing returns, you navigate to the file returns option, and then you choose your return option depending on your income or depending on the sources of your money. That is how we do it. And then you're supposed now to pay via a pay bill or get yourself to the bank and pay the money now that you've declared on the income.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the different types of returns that Kenyans have to make
Yes.
under the taxation regime?
Oh, yes. So it depends again with where you get your income. Different people are obliged to pay different kind of taxes. But I'll go through most of them. One of them, we call it income tax.
Income tax.
Income tax, that is taxed directly to your income. And an income tax, we have pay. Pay as you earn. And you are supposed to pay every month. It's your employer who is supposed to deduct this kind of a tax from your salary at the moment, and then they are supposed to pay to the carry directly. So it's not supposed to come to you. So at the end of the year, you are supposed to just declare, but not pay, because it's the employer who has been paying for you. So that is one of it. The other one is the corporate tax. The corporate tax is, at the moment, is 30% for resident companies in Kenya, where every company is supposed to pay 30% of their net income in terms of taxation at the end of every year. That is still under the bracket of income tax. From there, we have the one we call residential income tax. and is paid by landlords. So from all the monies that you get from your tenants, you're supposed to pay a tax in it. And there's several others in that, but those are mainly the ones that we pay under income tax, because they are advance tax, they are presumptive tax, and all those. From there, we have the ones we call exercise duties. This one is paid by these goods that are luxurious, and they have a negative effect on human, and we call them sin taxes.
Sin taxes.
Yeah, sin taxes. So these are levies that are
like alcohol,
and cigarette and sweets. All these things that have a negative impact. Yeah, even sweets.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they are taxed on exercise duty. It's there. And then from there we have custom duties. They are paid on imports and exports also. So anyone importing or exporting, they are supposed to pay. There is the turnover tax that is paid 1%. At the moment is 1.5% of your gross sales. That is for SMEs. And according to KRA, an SME is a business that is under the bracket of 1 million to 25 million. That is an SME. So if you don't have a turnover of 1 million, you are not yet an SME, according to KRA. So anyone in between 1 million to 25 million turnover is considered as an SME, and you're supposed to file a turnover tax. And lastly, the one that affects very many people is what we call VAT. That is value added taxation. That is on vatable goods, because there are goods that are not vatable, and at the moment is 16%.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be remitted at 20th of every month.
Okay.
And then we have withholding tax.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are examples of the tax bracket that all of us can be wrong.
Okay.
But at the moment, in the month of June, we're talking about the income tax.
Okay.
Yes, that is declaring.
So income tax here,
Yes.
it's going to affect the individuals.
Yes.
And who else?
And also
For
the
income tax.
companies.
And companies.
Yes.
So for the company, what do they do in terms of income tax in June?
In June, they are supposed to declare. They're
What?
supposed to declare. So they are supposed to prepare financial statements, and they do their internal audits, and then they are upload in a form in the iTax portal. So when we are filing it in the iTax portal, you're supposed to download an Excel sheet from the iTax portal, and then you fill your financial statements. After filling your financial statements, that Excel sheet is able to auto-calculate the tax you're supposed to pay. And then once you upload it in the iTax portal, it will download for you an acknowledgement receipt that you're supposed to go to the bank with, and then you pay. So first of all is you have to declare through the financial statements that have been prepared by your accountant.
So let's start with the businesses first, then we'll go to the individuals.
Yes.
So a business has to declare what they made in the previous year.
Yes.
January to December.
December, yes.
So they declare that in June.
In January to June, we have 6 months.
Yes.
It's just that Kenyans, we are always used to the last minute rush.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyone who filed from January to June, that's okay.
Okay.
But now most of us are here now in June.
Okay.
Yes.
So they are declaring the income they made.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For what purpose?
For what purpose? For paying taxation.
Okay.
That's it. So KRA assumes there is a policy in KRA we call presumption of honesty.
Okay.
So KRA assumes that you are honest in your dealings and also with your declarations, and that you take it very personal to pay taxes.
Okay.
And you know it's your obligation, and it's part of your obligation to the government to pay taxation. So what you've earned from January to December, it's supposed to be taxed 30%.
Okay. For the company now.
For the company now.
Yes.
So now you're supposed to declare honestly to the KRA what you've made, so that now you pay.
Okay.
Yes.
So a business now will declare. So if they made a profit of, let's say, 1 million shillings.
Yes.
Then after that, 30% is supposed to be paid as
yeah.
tax. That's
Yes.
for a company.
Yes.
Now let's come to the individual so that we're clear with the income tax bit. For an individual,
Yes.
what do they report? And what happens after they report?
Yes. So this is what happens. For an individual, they're just supposed to declare, because if they are employed, then they have been deducting pay every month. So now they're supposed to get a P9 form from their employer, so that they declare to the KRA, and then they are supposed to upload it in the iTax portal.
Okay.
That is now for an individual. Basically, that's what happens. Is for if you've not been employed, then you're filing nil returns.
Okay, we'll
Yes.
come to that.
Yes.
So for an individual who has a salary, you have already been paying the pay.
Yes.
So you just declare,
Yes.
and you don't expect to pay anything after that.
Not.
Now, let's go to the second category. Somebody who has no income.
Yes.
You call him what? The people who have nil returns.
Yes.
What happens for the nil returns?
What happens to the nil returns is you declaring, because you see, there is a tax obligation for anyone who has a KRA PIN. So you're supposed to declare, I did not have any income in that month.
So you are filing a zero return.
You are filing a zero return. Or if your salary was below the taxable income. Okay. Because the taxable income in Kenya is 24,000 with a monthly relief of 2,400 shillings.
Okay.
So everyone is supposed to file. So the ones that are filing nil are the people who don't have an income or their income was below the taxable income.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we have now the third category still under individuals, whereby you're talking about somebody who has a salary and also has other business by the sides.
Yes.
Take us through that one also.
Actually, that's one of the biggest challenges to KRA at the moment. And actually, statistics have shown that only 3 million people in Kenya are actually paying tax.
Okay.
Our tax systems are growing, but there are still a lot of lapses in between, especially getting to the people that are not in any system that is monitoring them. These people don't have a KRA PIN for their businesses, so they have no obligation on them, and they are not salaried. So the KRA PIN is nil return. So that has been one of the biggest challenges. But now there is where, as a person, you are self-employed, you are a farmer, and you also want to pay taxes, although there are very few in Kenya that are doing that. And that's why even now we are still requesting for KRA to upgrade their tax systems, because those people are not taxed at all, unless they willingly declare. And if they willingly declare, then they will be taxed 30% of the income they declare. Yes, because it's assumed it was from business proceedings.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we also still have got professionals who get deducted with the withholding tax.
All right.
Yes.
So getting to withholding tax, especially actually the withholding tax was introduced because of professional services. Because these people are not taxed. If I do law for you, if I do tutoring for you, these people are not being taxed. So this is what happened. The government, or rather the KRA, introduced the withholding tax where before I pay you, I'm supposed to cut withholding tax for you.
5% or something.
5%. For professionals is 5%. For VAT is 2% at the moment. So if you charged me 1 million, I'm supposed to deduct 5 million for you in terms of withholding tax. And then I'll give you 95%. Now, you see, the iTax portal is a self-assessment portal. So if I deducted 5% for withholding tax, in KRA records is to mean you earned. So if you don't file the 95% as income you received at the end of the year, KRA will send an email to you telling you there is a company that deducted a withholding tax for you of 5%. Why is it that on this income you've not declared it? So the withholding tax was introduced as a way of ensuring, especially the professional service providers are also paying tax, and that is 5%. So everyone who is paying you is supposed to deduct 5% from your income.
Okay.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
What is your take on this discussion?
Well, I think I love the conversation, especially now that Brian is saying only 3 million Kenyans pay taxes.
Yes.
Here comes my concern.
Yes.
We have a growing economy. We are calling the gig economy.
Yes.
Where we have freelancers and a few of the professionals you are talking about.
Yes.
But you realize that many of the transactions and engagements are really not very formal. So the withholding taxation may be left behind.
Yes.
What happens if my account is seen to be having very many transactions and some very bulky?
Yes.
Yet I'm not employed, yet I've not registered any business, so I don't have any business PIN.
Yes.
So am I also supposed to file a nil return? Or if I file a nil return, will there be any consequences on my end?
This is what happens. As I have said, our tax systems are still growing.
Okay.
So especially the digital economy, there before and up to now, is still an ongoing conversation in terms of how we tax it. But this is where KRA gets us. There is a pre-assumption of honesty. At the end of every year, you should declare honesty. As a citizen, we're supposed to pay tax.
Yes.
You are supposed to honestly declare the income you have received and at least pay a tax over it. But over time, we are seeing growth in this. Like, for instance, there is a digital tax at the moment, most of the platforms that we use to earn tax, to earn income, like YouTube, like Facebook, like all those things. Now, before you pay it, there is a digital tax attached to it. So the government is going for the established systems in terms of the digital tools that are there to ensure there is a tax imposed on you. And there are still many other areas that are untaxed. Now, if KRA suspects that you have a lot of income that is untaxed, they will come to you and they will guide you on the basis of you are supposed to declare your income. And you are supposed to pay 30% or not the income you get at the end of the year.
Now, back to the gig economy and the professionals. Most of them, you realize they don't have a formal way of accounting their income.
Yes.
So how will it be when it comes now to the declaration? How will they be in a position to declare what they have been able to accrue for over 1 year? Yet they don't have any formal way of accounting their earnings.
Well, I think it's a challenge, but I'm also a personal finance coach. And there is something we call budgeting also, because KRA assumes if there is money you're getting, is that out of something you're doing, and you are supposed to formalize it also. So there is how you are supposed to be accounting for every money going through your bank, even if it's for personal finance. That is how you're supposed to budget for all your monies. And we should be able to get M-Pesa statements. For instance, if you go to the tribunal or the dispute resolutions in KRA, they ask you for statements for as back as 5 years. Actually, there is a policy that states that you should keep your records for the last 5 years. You should have them. So if KRA comes for you, they expect records for the last 5 years. So there is no way you can get out easily, because they expect, if you don't have them, go to Safaricom, get the statements, go to KCB, get the statements, and they are supposed now to ask you, what did you do with all this income?
And now that brings me to my final question.
Yes.
You say that there is no way you can run away from KRA.
Yes.
But there is a very famous conversation around tax avoidance and tax evasion. Maybe you can speak a little bit about that.
Okay. So tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. But tax avoidance is legal. But it has its consequences. And a good instance of tax avoidance is filing nil returns when you had income. Okay. So long as you are not salaried, you assume that I will file nil returns because there is no money that is attached to my PIN. So that is tax avoidance. So tax avoidance is taking advantage of the loopholes in the tax laws and using them to your advantage. On the other side, tax evasion is where you deliberately get efforts to underpay tax, like not declaring all of your income, like smuggling goods. So that is in tax evasion. So KRA is supposed, if they get you even in tax avoidance, though legal, if they get a way of validating that you did not pay tax, they are supposed to fine you double of what you are supposed to pay. So there are legal ways through which we can have tax avoidance. Tax evasion is, we can't discuss it because it's illegal. That one is illegal. But tax avoidance is illegal. But KRA is on a daily basis getting ways of filling the loopholes in the tax laws to ensure we don't have gaps where we are able to run away with. So that's what I would say about that.
I think that's it.
Let me take you back to the tax obligations. One of the tax obligations is monthly rental income. Take us through how that is filed, and also if somebody has monthly rental income, does he also have to file the June yearly returns?
Yes.
And how do you go about it?
So for the monthly rental income, it falls as part of the allowable deductions. There before, like even a deduction like SHA was not allowable when it was NHIF. But at the moment, it's an allowable deduction, such that when we are calculating your income tax or your income at the end of the year, we deduct the other taxes that have been paid there before. So if you pay monthly rental income, it forms part of your expenses. It forms part of your deductions when we are calculating the total income that is supposed to be deducted 30% at the end of the year. You're getting it at that point. So if you've been paying 50,000 every month in rental income, so when we are calculating your annual income, you're not supposed to be this 50,000 is supposed to be minused in your expenses before we get the 30% that you're supposed to pay to the KRA. Yes.
So now, assuming I'm a landlord,
Yes.
and I only have rental income, and I've been filing on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Come the June returns, let's call them June, although you can file them in January, the June returns.
Yes.
And I don't have any other source of income.
Yes.
Am I also supposed to file a new return on the obligation of individual income, residential, or I should just leave it open?
No, if on your personal PIN, like we say for companies PIN, they begin with P, and individual, they begin with A. So if on your individual PIN, there is no obligation attached to it, you file nil.
Okay.
But on this company PIN that is hosting your rentals, that one you're supposed to pay the monthly rental tax and also file the annual income tax.
Okay.
Those are different. And if even you are in more than 1 million, you're supposed to, no, the turnover is in the goods and services. For the people in the rental, they don't pay the turnover tax, taxation. But you're supposed to pay the month and also compute your annual income to pay the corporate tax.
So if I'm getting you right, what you're saying is that if I've got rental income,
yes,
I have to continue paying that on a monthly basis.
Yes.
And then if I have, it's August,
yes,
I mean it's June.
Yes.
And I have this individual, you call it individual residential,
yes,
residential something.
Yeah.
That one, if I don't have another source in income, less in salaried and all that, then that I should file a new return.
Yes.
Continue filing a new return because there's no salary or there's no other business.
True.
Yeah.
True.
But if I have monthly rental income, I continue paying.
Yes.
But I have to fill both.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about matters compliance.
Yes.
How do you comply with tax obligations and tax laws in this country?
And it's a very slippery ground.
Yeah.
Because whereas there are very many businesses that are not complying, they feel that KRA gets hold of.
Yes.
They don't like it.
Okay.
Like there is one that is circulating online who was selling cars and everything. And then now KRA is on their neck and is requesting for millions of money because of failed tax compliance. So in Kenya, the best thing you can do for yourself is to be compliant. That's the first thing we have to lay as a foundation. The first thing you should do, or the best thing you should do for your business, is be compliant. Because if KRA requests you to appear before the tribunal, you won't like it at all. So the first thing is get to understand your obligations. Let's assess where do your income come from, and let's guide you in terms of what are these taxes that you should pay. For instance, if you are a company and you have employees, it's an error if you're not filing pay for them. And to activate the pay option, you have to get yourself to the KRA offices because a company PIN doesn't come with those options. Even VAT, you have to go to KRA for you to be activated in the VAT option. So the first thing is, let's discuss where is your source of income and what's the type of your company. And then let's guide you in what are these obligations that you are supposed to be filing, and then comply. Because each of these tax has their own deadline. For instance, for pay is 9th of every month. For VAT is 20th of every month. And then for income tax or the corporate tax is 30th of June. That is the deadline. So we first understand your income, where it comes from, what is the type of your business, and then we guide you on the tax obligations and then ensure you keep the timelines. Yes.
There's something I just want to ask you just before we take a very short break.
Yes.
And please, viewers, you can start sending your questions now because Brian needs to answer your specific question on matters tax. Let me just ask a simple question.
Yes.
Why should people pay tax?
Why should people pay tax? And actually, first I thank the government of Kenya. At the moment, we have a tax education that has been introduced to people from grade 4. In KICD, they are developing a curriculum now of educating our young people as to why they need to pay taxes. Because my generation missed, or from where I am going up, and we missed on the need for paying taxes. So if we have to raise another generation, we must train them from wakiwa wadogo, from when they are growing up.
Yes.
We must train them on the need to pay taxes. In Kiswahili KRA, the hashtag is tulipe ushuru tujitegemee. If we are not paying taxes, we can't depend on ourselves. And what are some of the disadvantages or some of the repercussions of not paying tax. One is over-reliance on a specific group of people. So you realize the one who is salaried, every year, the government is coming up with ways of milking them more, of cutting their payslip more. And there are other many people who are not paying taxes. So there is over-reliance or over-dependence on some few people who are actually faithful. That is one. Number two is we lack a national pride because we so much depend on donations. When there are so many people helping us, we being called a developing country every now and then donations left, right, and center. We can't rely on ourselves, and therefore we can't have a national pride of our country. It is not possible. Number three is increased borrowing. When like now at the moment, to fund the budget that is coming, the finance bill that is coming, we have to borrow a lot of money, and in that budget, 50% of it is used for debt repayment. And up to now, they are thinking of how to get more taxation from the people because it's the only way to fund a budget.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the only way to fund a budget. And the only way to grow our GDP is by ensuring we don't have a lot of borrowing. So if we don't pay taxes, what will happen is that we will have over-dependence on borrowing. We'll have to have, International Monetary Fund coming here, World Bank funding us, and those borrowings. So our country is being sold out to other people. So there is a lot of benefits of paying tax in terms of depending on ourselves and helping the government give us the basic services like security, like health, like basic education, like infrastructure. We have fuel levies and all those things that are used to maintain our loans. So kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea.
Kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. That's why we all need to pay taxes, my dear viewer. And this brings us to the end of the first session of this program. And I will request you to send your questions now to the numbers which are provided on the screen. And also remember to support us as a TV channel. Remember to support us in your prayers, in your donations. You can send them to the numbers provided on the screen, and that will go a long way in keeping us on air. So we are taking a short 2 minutes break. Don't touch that dial. Send the questions. Also, like, share, subscribe, and that will also help us. Thank you.
Faith Today TV is here to make your brand outstanding. Worry not on where to advertise your business or your product. Call us on 0114 777 000 or email us on info@faithtodaytv.co.ke.
Hello there, my name is Enoch. Taking care of your health should be a top priority. Looking at the various engagements that we have today, it is so easy to forget about our health, mental well-being. That is why we introduce to you the Healthy You Talk Show, a brand new show that is going to address matters concerning your health, nutrition, stress management, mental health, name it. We bring to you a wide range of experts who are going to be touching pertinent issues concerning our health. Tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. live on Faith Today TV.
Welcome once again to Kingdom Business Network. We're so much excited to be coming to you live and direct to wherever you are, whether in your office, your home, or in your car driving, wherever you are. Stay tuned because we are discussing about June matters, filing tax. And we said, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. So as a country, we need to have the pride of paying taxes to develop our country.
Yes.
We can discuss about how much we pay, but let us be compliant in terms of declaring what we are earning and also supporting our government in terms of paying our taxes. And before we took the break,
Yes.
We had some questions to Brian and Lewis. What came into your mind before I take the viewers' question? And please, viewers, keep sending those questions.
Yes. Yeah, thank you so much, Doc. And thank you, Brian, for helping us demystify this particular conversation. I mean, it's an elephant in the room in so many businesses and individuals at the same time. There's a time you talked about internal audits.
Yes.
And my question would be, are there red flags that maybe would trigger an audit from KRA, and how can businesses protect themselves?
Oh, yes. There are red flags that can trigger audit from KRA.
Yes.
The first time you pay taxes, KRA expects consistency
Okay.
in terms of how you're paying your taxes. And they are also supposed to see, I mean, how your business size should also talk so much on how much of taxes you pay. So some of the things that can warrant KRA to come for an audit to your firm is, one, errors in your taxation, in your records. If there are errors, then they will come for audit. Number two, after every 5 years, KRA expects audit for every company. So if 5 years are over, KRA will come for you. I've said one is improper records or inaccurate records. Number two is after 5 years. Number three is if they detect inconsistency, or if they assume, or they at one point they sense that what you're filing is below what you earn, and they have their own ways of getting that, and they have the legal right to come and request for audits from your company. So it's possible, especially if there is they detect or they sense the information you're giving to them is inaccurate.
Okay.
Yes.
And last year, I remember, because I'm also into business,
Yeah.
there was a time KRA was sensitizing so much on e-teams.
Yes.
And the need of every business having an e-teams account.
Yes.
Maybe you can help us understand a little bit about e-teams and
Yeah.
how the entire system
Yes.
is beneficial to business people.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially to the people who are self-employed.
Okay.
E-teams is the go-to solution. It was fought because people say that e-teams is auto-calculating the tax you're supposed to pay. So people were arguing that we need to ensure not all our goods are passing through the e-teams, so that we don't have auto-calculated taxes. And very many people fought it to a point it was not so much affected. And there is a time I remember, KRA officials were going town by town installing e-teams for every business. But due to limited resources and also a human resource and funding, they have not yet been able to get to every business at the moment. But from my angle, e-teams was a solution to our businesses, just that it was politicized. The goal was to ensure there is a way you are able to account for all the monies that are in your business. So it was also including a POS, a point of sale, where it would help you in accounting and in doing your invoicing, so that you are able to know the amount of tax you are supposed to pay. Okay. So e-teams was a solution to small businesses, especially it was directed to SMEs to help them in accounting, which is a big challenge to SMEs that can't be able even to employ an accountant. So that one, so long as you just feed your product, is able to auto-calculate and is able to do accounting for you and generate financial statements for you that you're able to do filing with.
Oh, thank you so much. I know we have several questions from our viewers. Maybe it's time we also get to
hear from them.
Yes.
Now, clarify to the viewer.
Yes.
When should they finalize filing their returns?
Yes.
And what happens thereafter?
Okay.
Yes.
You're supposed to have finalized this process by that 30th of June.
This month. So
This
we have how many? 2 weeks to go?
2 weeks to go. Today's 12.
Today's 12, yes.
Yes. So 2 weeks to go, you're supposed to have finalized.
Okay.
If you don't, you're to receive a penalty of 2,000 if it's for personal PIN.
Okay.
If it's for company PIN, a penalty of 20,000 Kenyan shillings.
Okay.
And I have encountered so many people that are even 5 years defaulters. So that is 10,000.
Uh-huh.
And it doesn't look serious until the day you require that KRA PIN or KRA or an office you're supposed to go and get employed, or somewhere you're supposed to get a tender, or just somewhere you're supposed to do business, asks for your tax compliance certificate. And then you find you have a penalty of 10,000 from KRA and you don't have that money to pay. You realize it's better if you comply there before. So personal PIN, 2,000 penalty. For company PIN, 20,000.
Okay. So by the way, you mentioned something interesting, compliance certificate. How do you get that one?
It's in the iTax portal. There is an option called compliance certificate. There is somewhere you can get all the certificates. Then you click on compliance. If you're compliant, it will generate. It's an auto-generated PIN or certificate. I mean, if you auto-generate it, it will tell you are compliant or you're not compliant.
And I've always thought it's a good idea to actually do that every year.
Yes.
So that you always have that certificate because it's free.
It's free.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I would encourage the viewers.
Yes.
You log in. You file in your returns this month.
Yeah.
Also click and get your tax compliance.
Yes.
And file it so that 2024
Yeah.
imeenda hiyo.
Imeenda.
Yeah?
Yeah.
As opposed to looking for a compliance, might be you have other issues.
Yes. And
Okay.
everyone we file for, we always send the compliance certificate together with. So if we file for you, we send a tax compliance certificate with you so that we show you you are now compliant.
Okay.
Yes.
And before we even get to the viewers' questions, who can help you in this process?
Yeah.
Who can help?
Who can help you
yeah.
in this process? The people that can help you in this process are people like me. These are people that are experienced in the field. They have done accounting and they are also certified by CASNEP. For instance, up to this point, I can't practice accounting or rather tax as a profession because of the CPK. But it's something I'm doing, and in 1 year I'll be done with that. So now I'm a certified public accountant of Kenya. So I can't open a consultancy firm to be doing that unless I'm licensed. So there is only one body that does that, and it's CPK. But that is CASNEP. But most of these things don't require up to that level. We've been able to interact the system to a point we can do it for you. So you just have to get someone who is well versed in the area, and they'll do for you. But for nil returns, it's very easy. It's as easy as logging in your iTax portal, click returns, click income tax, then there is file nil returns, and it's so.
And it's done.
Resident, non-resident.
Resident and non-resident. You are resident. Resident is anyone who has been registered in Kenya, or you are a Kenyan by birth. Non-resident is if you are not a Kenyan, you file a nil return and automatically it
Or you're living abroad.
Or you're living abroad. Yeah, and it becomes so easy. So for nil, you should do it comfortably.
You should do it comfortably.
Yeah.
Now let's come to the viewers' question. And thank you very much for sending us the questions. And in case you've not sent the questions, please do it now. Somebody's asking, hi, great show. I'm Irene. Thank you, Irene. And I've been employed for less than 6 months this year. Do I still need to file a tax return? And I want to combine with George. George is saying, good morning, KBN. Can you clarify if small businesses with no income this year still need to file returns? And what are the implications if they don't?
Okay. I will begin with the one for Irene. The tax obligations we're declaring now are for the financial year 2024.
The individual tax.
Individual tax. That is January to December
2024.
2024.
Yes.
If you are not employed by then, you file a nil return.
If you still have a PIN, if you had a PIN last
If
year.
you had a PIN last year, you have to file nil returns if you are not employed.
Yes.
If you have been employed this year on January, now we will file income tax for you next year, but now it will not be nil.
It will not be nil.
Yes, because now this year you're employed. But for last year, it's as easy as filing nil returns because there was no obligation attached to your PIN. Yes.
Okay.
I had the second one was
The
from...
second one is from George. He's saying, can you clarify if a small business with no income this year still needs to file a return?
The same case for that.
Okay.
If last year the business was in operation, they have to file the income tax. If it was not in operation but they had a PIN, they still
business PIN.
A business PIN. And now, if what is a business PIN is given to a company registered. That's the one we're calling a business PIN. The one that begins with P. So if your business doesn't have a PIN that begins with P, then it's not a business PIN. You only have like sole proprietorship is only attached to your personal PIN. So for them, they file nil returns for income tax of year 2024. But from this year now, if their income that is associated to their PIN, they have to declare their income. Now that is now next year, June. Yeah.
I like that clarity because a lot of people get confused. So simply what Brian is saying is that if you had a PIN last year,
Yes.
and you last year so didn't have any income, you still must return a nil return.
Yes.
If your business started this year and you are employed this year,
Yes.
You don't have to file an amount. You file the amount next year.
Yes.
But if the PIN was in operation last year,
Yes.
you still have to file a nil return. Thank you for that clarity. Now, somebody is saying, hello, Love the discussion today. Thank you. And thank you very much. The question is, are there any tax reliefs I can claim, tax relief, I can claim as a parent paying school fees? If so, how does that work? I'm Stella watching on Facebook.
All right.
Wazazi.
Taxation is on income. It's not on other expenses.
Okay.
And we only have two pins, a personal pin or a business pin. So if you're paying school fees, you have to clearly show whether it is attached to any business and how that is an expense. But I presume it's not an expense on any pin. So there is no relief, I would say, they will benefit from, because that's not related to in any way. If it's not, there is no business there. It's not in any tax bracket, or it can't fall in any financial statement. You see, when we're talking about income-related taxation, we want to attach it to a financial statement. So income versus expenses. So if it's a business, what are its incomes? What are its expenses? So if you can validate how that paying of school fees is attached to any financial statement, then it reduces your income tax. But there is no relief. But now that people are talking about a relief, there is a relief that is ongoing called amnesty. Amnesty is a relief being given to any business, any PIN that had defaulted or earned a penalty by 2023, and they have not paid it up to now. So there is an amnesty, and you can apply for it, and KRA will give you a waiver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about relief still.
Yes.
There's what we call monthly relief.
Yes.
How does it operate?
And
what is it?
Yes, and it's not mandatory. You apply, and then KRA investigates whether you are fit for it. So most of these reliefs, KRA has to do that follow-up on your PIN to clearly tell whether they are able to give you this relief. So it's not automatic. You apply for it.
Yes.
You apply for it, and then KRA evaluates whether you are actually able to get the relief. And it can be on any kind of a tax. It can be on any kind of penalty. So if you are penalized because of pay, if you are penalized because of rental income, if you are penalized because of that, you can always apply for a relief, but it's subject to KRA doing a lot of that follow-up to see whether you are supposed to get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought there was also another relief of if you and your husband or spouse are paying tax, there's always a monthly relief. What's that one?
Or if you and your husband
on your pay.
Or on your pay, if you are paying taxation. Well, it didn't feature on very well because there were very many unanswered questions at that point. So up to now, it's not very clear. Actually, very few people benefited from that kind of a relief up to now. So it's something KRA is a policy KRA is still working on. I wouldn't say still on developing stage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Keith in Umoja 1, thank you for watching and sending this question. The question is, I'm self-employed and get paid in cash.
Yes.
How can I calculate and report my income?
eTeams is your go-to solution. We said the purpose of eTeams is to help SMEs in doing accounting. And there is no problem with receiving money in cash because cash is around anyway. It is part of our current assets. So we can receive cash without any struggle. But now, how do you account for that? KRA just want proof of payment. You receive this money and you pay this money. So there is need for invoices and receipts. Once you have those, we can get a very good financial statement for you that we can upload and you pay an income tax on that. Yes.
Can you advise people who are self-employed and how they need to manage their finances? Because this question also could also have a bearing in terms of not being even able to know how much they make. Are they profitable or not? They might be not even be aware.
Yes.
Simple businesses, what do they need to do?
Yeah.
Might be as an Excel template, I don't know.
I see. And you see, by the fact that we're saying you must declare your income, if you're not making profits, KRA is aroused for that. So if we calculate your income versus your expenses, and your expenses are more than income, that is to mean you're still giving a lot of money to the business, KRA still aroused for, okay, you can't pay tax because there is no net income, it's only net loss. So KRA allows for that. So for small businesses, I would advocate for an Excel sheet, as easy as Excel sheet. Though there are POS that are being sold from as low as 10,000, 15,000, those are point of sales you can get them. E-Teams also is being given almost freely by KRA. You can get it also. But I would advocate for one to begin with an Excel sheet. It will help you a big time in managing your incomes and also your expenses, and then have a receipt book where you can do follow-up. Because with a receipt book, an auditor can audit for is a gap of 3 years, so long as there are those receipt books and there are invoices. So if you are able to manage your books, have good bookkeeping, then it means you're safe, and we can prepare financial statements at any point in the year.
Wonderful. Yeah. That's good advice for small businesses.
Yes.
Now, good morning. This is Vivian. Thank you, Vivian, for writing to us.
Yeah.
From CBD.
Yes.
It says, thanks for addressing this topic. What happens if I realize I made a mistake in my returns after filing?
Yes.
Is there a way to correct it without penalties?
Yeah. That's why we advocate for people filing before deadlines. Because if you file before deadlines, there is an opportunity for amendment, and you can amend what you've declared. If you declare today, before June 30th, you can actually amend. So, and you not have penalties. But if it's beyond the timelines, then it's a different case altogether. But if it's within the timelines, you can do it. Yes.
And actually, I saw, because I filed my returns, actually I did that yesterday.
Yes.
I saw I always see there is original return and
Yes.
there's amended
returns.
but I've never used the amended.
Yes.
So if assuming I had the file like the way I've done it
Yes.
yesterday, I
Yes.
put in and it's written original return.
Yes.
So you're saying I can come back today, do the corrections, upload the same again,
Yes.
but now under amended.
Amended returns.
Okay.
And so long as before June 30th, you're safe.
And will it now then delete the previous one I did the previous day? Or what happens?
Yes, it will auto-correct.
Autocorrect.
Yeah. So the obligation now you have is the amended one.
Okay.
Yeah, KRA allows for that.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I would have thought might be now there'll be problems. Now KRA has 2 copies.
No.
Now they're wondering what is this person trying to do?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you just have to justify the amended
So there'll be
returns.
no penalties until that year.
Until
After that year, that's when you get a penalty.
Yes.
If you try to correct.
Yes.
Somebody is asking, for someone working abroad, but still a Kenyan citizen, are they in obligation to file returns here in Kenya?
Yeah. Non-resident. We say there are 2 types of returns. There is resident and there is non-resident.
Okay.
So if you still have a Kenyan PIN, then you're obligated to pay tax.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is an obligation for anyone, either resident or non-resident, who has a PIN.
Okay.
Yes, you just have to seek professional services to know now where do you fall in place, and now we file for you. Yes.
But now these people who, assuming somebody's in the Ukomaju, US,
Yes.
and I believe even there they are paying taxes.
Yes.
Now, how much does he pay in Kenya, or is it going to be new return, or how does it work?
No, actually, they even have money they remit to Kenya government, and it's supposed to be declared also. So there is an obligation for them. They are paying in the US, and even there they are paying because they are doing business there. But as a Kenyan, they have an obligation in the home country, and they are supposed to do it also here. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Someone is saying, this is Joe. Thank you, Joe, for writing to us. I'm hearing about iTax being difficult to navigate.
Yes.
Are there any simple resources or guides you'd recommend for a beginner like me?
Yeah, they are there. There is what we call the iTax Fax. iTax Fax. When you go there, you get to know all the taxes that are in Kenya. They will give you an introduction. Actually, KRA, you see, someone said in Kenya or in Africa, if you want to hide something from Africans, hide it in writing. They might never get it. But KRA has provided enough resources in their website for anyone who is beginning. That is number 1. Number 2, they have done so many YouTube videos on how to navigate on everything about them. That is number 2. Number 3, they have a toll-free number you can call, and they are always available. You question them and they will answer. They have an email you can give them. You can write an email for them and they will respond to you. In Ndome centers, they are there. If you just go to them, they will spend even if it's 10 minutes with you, and they help you in understanding what you want to understand. Now, in their offices again, you find them and they will help you. Like now you go to, I was in Vika, KRA Center, and people are there. So many, there was such a big queue of people going to the KRA Center to get their returns filed. Because if you get yourself to them, they will do it free of charge. In the year,
They themselves will do it.
They will do it for you free of
They
charge.
file for you the returns.
Yes. So you can just walk into one of their centers and they'll do it free of charge. So there are enough resources where you can begin and advance in that area.
So Joe is sorted than any other person.
Yes.
With that issue.
Yes.
You can go to YouTube, you can see the videos, and I've actually used some of their resources.
Oh, okay.
They're very helpful.
Yes.
You imagine anything and you
Yes.
ask and you're able to get an answer.
Yes.
And I like the fact that you can actually walk into any Huduma center or KRA centers.
Yes,
Like
yes.
in Nairobi, there's the railways area. You still, I don't know whether
And
it's still
Times
there.
Tower also.
And Times Tower.
Yeah.
And somebody will sort you out.
True.
Our other question is, what are the top things people commonly forget to include in their tax returns that might lead to issues later on?
Yeah. Number one is reliefs. This relief, there is a monthly relief of 2,400 per individual. That is one of the things some people easily forget. Number two is inaccurate records. You see, the iTax portal auto-calculates. So if you dare enter the wrong details, it will automatically give wrong tax that you're supposed to pay. So people easily forget that. Number three is forgetting to actually file. Is an area people do, especially for the nil returns people. That is why we're really advocating for people to listen to such programs, and they know them that don't have an income. They really do that, especially the older generation. Like, I don't know when last my father filed for the year, files. I did it last year for them, and I was able to give them a waiver for very many years. Even this year I was asking for a spin, so that I do it for them. So not filing, especially if you don't have an income, is also another area that people so easily forget. Another area that people make is when entering the year of obligation. So if from last year, like now we are filing for last year, many people don't know that. They think we are filing from January this year to December this year. But you realize every pin have different charges. The others are to go to download the Excel sheet. It will not work in the laptop. So there are different charges depending on what everyone is facing. So it's always advisable, in case you face any challenge at one point, you just inquire and you get help from them. Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Lewis.
Yes, sir.
What is your take on all this? Maybe you can ask one or two questions as
I
we
think
close.
I'm also learning a lot, especially now that I'm also in the business landscape. And I so much believe, as you said, if you want to hide anything from Africans, just do it in writing.
Yes.
And I love it that you are saying that the KRA system is very comprehensive, that it's only the ignorant person may fail to get assistance they may need. So maybe as now an expert in the area, as somebody who also does consultancy, you can help us understand, or maybe which are these mindset shifts you would recommend to Kenyans so that our tax life, let me call it so, may be easy and enhanced, and we avoid so many of problems with the KRA.
Yeah. Number one is that taxation did not begin today. It began with Pharaoh. Yes, in between 1800 and 1600 CC, around there. It also came to Joseph. He told everyone to limit 20% to Pharaoh. Jesus, in his own time, he said, give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. At one point, he even tells Peter to go and get a silver from the mouth of the fish and go give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So we must understand tax did not begin today, and is the only way a sovereign country can learn itself. It's in the will of God. Give Caesar what belongs to Caesar. It's the only way we can be proud of Kenya, or of our country, Kenya. So I would advise every Kenyan to know that paying tax is an obligation. And if there is a politician you should hate, is any politician that is touching on matters taxation. One who is mobilizing us not to pay for taxes, you should hate them with passion, because politicians will come and go, but our country will live with it forever. So we must not alter the foundations of our country, which are on taxes. And if you are one of the people that fall in the category of them that don't pay taxes, I beseech you by the mercies of God that it is in the will of God. Like the way you pay 10% tithing is the same case. You should be a proud Kenyans. And there are doors that open once we begin faithfully with paying taxes. It's so, because it's an obligation we should pay. So that's one, a mindset shift, of it's our obligation to pay taxes. Number two is that you need help. You need help, and the help is there. And the matter is not complicated. It's just comprehensive. So if you take your time to run it and understand it and also get help and treasure financial literacy, it's easy to demystify the whole of this concept. So that I think that's what I would advise Kenyans.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brian and Ndome, for that insightful discussion on tax matters and why every entrepreneur and individual should be filing their taxes now.
Yes.
And for those who are watching us, you can always reach out to Brian and any other tax consultant to help you in some of these matters, just in case you have a question. It's given us a myriad of options in where we can actually be able to get help so that we are compliant in terms of matters tax. And with that, we come to the end of our show. But before we do that, I'd like to ask for some parting shots from Brian and Lewis. Yes. You can go. And you can also tell people how they can get you. Get in touch.
So in a world full of loopholes to misallocate, misappropriate, and misuse personal, public, and corporate finance, I believe the role of financial analysts and financial managers can't be overemphasized. In most of the videos I watch every day, I love listening to sermons, I love listening to music. One of those videos every day must be about financial literacy and how I need to grow myself in terms of managing and handling my finances. I will request every other Kenyan out there, let's be sensitive about this whole issue in taxes and how we handle finances, because we can never talk about finances leaving out the conversation of taxation, because it's inside there, it's infused inside there. So let's pay our taxes, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. Let's be responsible Kenyans. June 30th is here, don't wait for the last minute. The KRA portals is always so congested on the last days because of our usual cultures as Kenyans of planning the last minute and lashing the last minutes. But I would wish you do it as early as now, as soon as you see this video. Thank you so much for having us and listening to us. My name is Ndome Brian. You can get me on my phone number 0768409742 or follow me on all my socials. It's Ndome Brian. That is where you find me. At the moment, thank you so much, Daktari, for having me here. I'm so much grateful, and I can't wait to maybe ever come here again as we demystify this whole issue of finances and financial literacy.
Can you repeat the number again?
All right. My number is 0768409742 on WhatsApp and on call.
Thank you very much, Brian, for this insightful discussion. Lewis,
Yes, sir.
what's your parting shots?
I usually say that money goes to the prepared and the compliant. Today we were here to demystify the compliance area or dimension. We have been having several conversations of preparedness when we talk of digital literacy, digital marketing and such. But today we were here entirely for the compliance aspect. And I would plead with you, make sure you reach out to Ndome Brian so that he can help you unpack that big burden you've been carrying for a very long time about your finances, about your taxes, and your business. You'll see your business thrive in a very big way. Also to remind you, catch us at Certitude Digital Training Center, where we empower young people through digital skills like digital marketing, graphic design, web design, and many more. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our viewers. This has been KBN, empowering you with practical business tips to make your business and your entrepreneurial journey successful. Until next time, God bless you.